Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Kurt Berglund, and if it's Tuesday, that means only one thing. That means that it's time for me to share what I've learned this week, or do a demo, or do an unboxing of some kind. Today, we're doing part 3 of a 4-part preview of a brand new game called SABERTOOTH Baseball. The link for SABERTOOTH is in the description for my video. And you can check out the link there and find out all about the products that are being offered, and there are more in development right now. I don't work for SABERTOOTH. I'm not paid by SABERTOOTH. I'm just sharing what I've learned with you, and maybe you can make a better decision for yourself after watching the video about whether the game is for you or not. I'm excited about it. I think it's a good game, and I think it is breaking some new ground that maybe we haven't had broken in the baseball cards and dice sim arena. So, with no further ado, let's get to what we know about SABERTOOTH. We know that one of the things you get with SABERTOOTH is a listing of lineups and a way to manage starting rotations. You get a sheet with that information. At the bottom of the sheet is information about manager tendencies for leading their ball club. The second thing that you get with all of the teams that you order in SABERTOOTH is a sheet devoted to slash lines for hitters and slash lines against for pitchers. So, and in fact, there's even pitcher hitting slash lines here too. So, you do get statistical information. Some is on the cards, actually, a little bit, but most of the meat is on the extra pages that you get. Also with SABERTOOTH, something that you get is information about park adjustments and weather adjustments. This is the most, I would say, comprehensive weather impact and park impact game that I've seen in baseball cards and dice simulations. It's broken down into month, both for climate and temperature, and then even wind direction. So you get a real sense that based on what the weather is doing that particular day, that long hits especially are going to be impacted by the weather in one direction or another, or maybe not at all, depending upon the dimensions of the park and the particular circumstances, the confines of the park, and so on. So let's get to playing some SABERTOOTH baseball. Today, the opposing teams, we're going to go for about an hour and try and demonstrate the different pieces of SABERTOOTH. Then next week, we'll do it one last time. And I encourage you to check out my other videos on SABERTOOTH that we've done already. The first video was a few innings to get you interested and get you looking at the game between the 1935 Chicago Cubs and the 1927 New York Yankees. The second video that I did last Tuesday, was a video that broke down the basics, how to play SABERTOOTH, what the cards look like, what the cards mean. And today we're going to do a few more innings of a sample game. This is the 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers at the 1920 Chicago White Sox. We're playing in Comiskey Park. The 1920 White Sox finished in second place. They were actually in first place in September of 1920 when things began to unravel on them in terms of depositions and Black Sox scandal and all that good stuff. And so the Indians were able to overtake them and eventually, of course, won the 1920 World Series. But this 1920 White Sox may have been the best of those early White Sox teams. It might have even been better than the 1917 World Series winners. The 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers were called by many the best Dodger team that there was in Brooklyn. Carl Erskine said that, of course, that they felt in 53 that was their best team, even better than the 55 club. They won 105 games. They lost 49. They won the pennant in the National League and lost the World Series to an excellent New York Yankees ball club. All right, so with that, we're going to do the lineups as we go, and we're going to get into things. The opposing pitchers are Carl Erskine for the Dodgers and Red Faber for the White Sox. Those are their respective aces. All right, so with all of that said, let's get to play some Sabertooth baseball. Okay, with Sabertooth, you're rolling 3 D10s plus a D6. And the D10s, what they do is they tell you whether to look on the batter's card from 0 to 500 or on the pitcher's card from 501 to 1,000. But the D6 tells you other stuff that's going on. So this is not a 50-50 game as usual. So if we roll the dice here for Junior Gilliam leading off against Red Faber, we have red, white, and blue, so it's a 590. With a 5 on the D6. So the first thing that we're going to do is to consult the D6 chart, which is really simple and gets to be very, very quick after you roll a game or two. The ballpark chart is what you're checking here on the 5. This tells you that the ballpark chart is what you need to look at. And so we will go to the ballpark chart here for Comiskey Park. Now, 590, let's look on Faber's card here. 590 is a ground out to the first baseman, G3. So that's a ground out to first base. Now, a ballpark chart, we have to roll here to see how it may be impacted by the roll. So we go 2 D10s, and it's a 76, and that's not affected by the roll. So we have a ground out to first base for Gilliam, and there's 1 gone in the first inning. Now it's Pee Wee Reese up. All right, and it's a 604 with a 6 on the D6. So the 6 on the D6 is the home field advantage number. The home field advantage number at Comiskey Park is 82 to 100. And if we roll in here, then what happens is the visitors' singles would turn into an F. Well, that's not. Let's look and see what happened here. We had a 604 on Faber's card. It's a ground out, so that can't change. So it's going to be a ground out 4-3. But let's roll this just for fun. If we land between 82 and 100, and it had been a single, it would turn into a flyout. Would have been caught by the outfielder. That's the built-in home field advantage. On the other hand, if the White Sox had rolled this, then they had rolled a ground out or a flyout, they would turn into singles. So it works in favor of the home team by turning their outs into hits, and it works against the visiting team by turning their hits into flyouts. But that hasn't happened here, so it's a ground out for Reese, and there's 2 down for Duke Snyder against Faber. All right, so we have a 4 on the D6. The 4 is the platoon chart. All right, so now what we do, the platoon for Snyder is a 2. The platoon for Faber is a 1. So we have a total of a 3 here for the platoon number. The advantage here is for the batter. There is a walk is their outcome. 0-20 is a walk on Snyder's card. But on the batter's original result, there is no walk. So the walk doesn't turn into anything on this particular outcome. But if let's say Snyder had struck out and we have a total platoon number of 3. Snyder's number was 2. Faber's number was 1. So Duke has the platoon advantage. If we had then rolled a 1-54, the strikeout would change to a walk. That's how there are not splits on the cards, but the platoon number tells you how the outcomes might be adjusted if either the batter has the advantage in terms of platoon points or if the pitcher has the advantage. And that's how splits are handled in Sabertooth. All right, so Snyder is aboard with 2 men out, and now Jackie Robinson is up against Faber. Okay, our first roll is a 3. It's an error chart. Let's look here what happened. It's a 592, and that is a G3. The G3 is fine, but the 3 on the D6 tells us we need to consult the error chart. On each player's card, you see a bunch of defensive numbers. This is Shane Collins, the White Sox first baseman. There's his position. The first number before the slash is his range. The second number is his error. The third number is his arm as a first baseman. So his error number is a 1. So that's his E rating. Now we come to the error chart, and it looks like this. Fielder E rating is a 1 for Collins. And if we roll a 1-8 on the 2D10s, then we have an error. Well, we didn't. So Collins is going to make the play for the third out. But let's say we did. Well, if there is a ground ball type of error, which this was, then we would re-roll the 2D10s, and let's see what we might get. We rolled a 20, so that would be a fielding error, 1 base for everybody. And that's how that would work. There are different types of errors on different types of batted balls. Ground balls, pop-up, line drive, fly ball, or a hit. All different types of error situations. For this one, we came here again because the D6 was a 3, and that told us the error chart. Now that concludes the top of the first inning. Remember, the D6 can tell us any one of 6 different places that we might need to go. The XXX chart is rare plays. Range chart is when we need to get to the kitchen and check the range. For the love of God, check the range. It's a range check. Error chart, platoon chart, ballpark chart, or the home field advantage number. We've had a number of these already. So that's good. We are through the first half inning, and the Dodgers did not score. They stranded Duke Snyder at first base with a walk. All right, so here comes Carl Erskine, or Oysk, as they said in Brooklyn. And here's the White Sox cover card. Tells you about their ball club. And now we're ready to roll. Nemo Leibold is up at the plate. He is the right fielder for the White Sox. Here's the pitch. All right, so we have a 3-20. I'm sorry, we have an 8-26. I can read. 8-26. And that goes here. It's a line out to the shortstop. But we have a 3. And we know from last inning that a 3 is the error chart. So we have to look at Pee Wee Reese's error number as the Brooklyn Dodgers shortstop. Here again we see shortstop, 3 is his range, 4 is his error, and 0 is his arm. So 4 is what we need. That is the error number. All right, so we come back here. We roll 2 d10s, and we know that with Reese's error number being a 4, if it's 1 to 20, we have an error. So let's see what happens. It's a 43, we have no error. But just for fun, let's do the line out and see if it would have been an error, what we would have done. So we have a line out, becomes an infield single and not an error. So it turns into a single. If we would have rolled 1 to 20, because it was a line out, it becomes an infield single and not an error. But he made the catch, so there's 1 out. Now it's Eddie Collins, the White Sox second baseman. All right, so we roll a 4 with the D6. First thing, 282 is an F9, so he flies out to right field, but we have a 4 on the D6. The 4 on the D6 is our good old friend, the platoon chart. So now we look at Collins' platoon number, which is 0, and Erskine's platoon number, which is 0. Now, normally on a platoon check, what we would do is to add the platoon numbers together and then consult this chart. Except if the platoon numbers are 0 and 0, we don't check the chart, we just take the result. And that's what's happened in this case. But this chart tells you first what your platoon number is. Then you look and see based on if the batter has, and you roll, if the roll falls within the change result column, then you look and see based on whether the batter has the higher number or the pitcher did, and then you change your result if it applies. And that's the platoon chart. But we have a pair of zeros. We have a 0 for Collins and a 0 for Erskine, so there's nothing there. It's a straight 282, which is a fly out to right, and there's 2 outs. Now it's Buck Weaver. Buck Weaver coming to the plate against Carl Erskine. All right, so this is a 574. So that falls into Erskine's strikeout range. We have a 2, but it is a strikeout, and so there's nothing to check because there is no range on a strikeout, so that's strike 3. We've played 1 complete. White Sox are down 1-2-3 in the first. Let's go to the second inning and see how the Dodgers do against Red Faber. If I can get my fingers to work, it would be very, very helpful. Okay, Roy Campanella leads off against Red Faber. Let's see if I can lower this without losing the cards here. I guess that's better. All right, so we'll try this. Campanella's at bat is a 804, and 804 is on Faber's card, and that goes to a fly out to left field. But we have a 5, and that's the ballpark chart. So we got to look at the ballpark chart for Comiskey Park. Roll our 2d10s. 89 turns out to be nothing, and that's a fly out to left field. All right, 1 gone. Now it's Hodges against Faber. There's Gil's card. pitch from Faber. Release the hounds. Okay, so we have a 000. A 000 is a reading of 1,000, which is a long hit. We also have the home field advantage number. So we're going to take that into account in just a moment. Well, no, we don't have to, because it's not a single or a double, or it's not a single for the visiting team. So now we have a long hit. All right, so so what we do to deal with the long hit, first thing we do is we look at the type of hitter that Gil Hodges is. He's a right-handed power hitter, RP, which is going to tell us our column on a chart. His power number is a 4. Faber's power number is a 1, so that makes it a 5 total on the hit. We also need to know that Faber's home run is a +10 for feet. All right, so we're going to roll 2d10s, and we're going to look at the LG chart, and that's going to tell us what field the hit was hit to. And we get a 50. Well, we're looking at the RP chart for Hodges. We go down to 50, and we see that it goes to left center field. All right. So now we come back to Comiskey Park's page and left center field. So, all right, so Hodges has a long hit. We are ordinarily, if the long hit was on Hodges' card, which would be between 422 and 500, we would add Faber's +10 to the total. But it happened off Faber's card, so that's not going to happen now. We're going to just take the park adjustment, which for the weather today is a +10. We know the ball was hit to left center field based on our previous roll, and so we are going to roll 3d10s and see how far this baby went after we add our +10 to the drive, and we have a 250 to left center. We add 6, and that means a 260 foot drive to left center field. So that means that we have a fly out to left center field. The runner on third will hold. Second and third, the runner can move if possible, if we want to. And that is the result of the deep drive for Hodges. Let's look at some other options here. If we know that 382 is the dimensions of Comiskey Park in 1920 to left center field. So if between the drive and the wind we had been able to get past the 382 mark, it would have been gone. Okay, and so the interesting thing about Sabertooth Baseball is how the parks affect the extra base hits, and I think it's one of the cool things about the game. So there's 2 outs in the second now, and it's going to be Carl Furillo coming to the plate against Faber. Here we go with Furillo's at bat. Let me try and get this on. There we go. All right. This is a 362, and that is a single to right field. On the D6, we have an XXX chart because of the roll of the 1. So we have to consult the XXX chart, which is a rare play chart. The rare play chart means we re-roll And look here, the bases are empty. There's 2 outs for the Dodgers. 222. Next infield errors chance, check the putout defender's E rating. So that will be something that we set to the side for now. All right, and now we re-roll. No, I'm sorry, we don't re-roll. That is a single for Furillo. I think I rolled, yeah. Single for Furillo. All right, coming up now is Bobby Cox, batting 8th for the Dodgers against Faber. Okay, and the pitch is a 263, and that is a fly out to left field. We check the roll of the 6, and that's the home field advantage number. So we come back to Comiskey Park, and we see the home field advantage number is 82 to 100, and we roll a pair of D10s. If the roll falls within there, then we adjust that if it would have been a single, but it's not a single. For a home team, it can turn an out into a single. For a visiting team, it turns a single into out, so I guess we don't really even need to re-roll that because that's just a flyout. But the 80, so for example, it's nothing because it didn't get up to an 82 to 100. But if it had, then, and it had been a single, it would have changed the single to a flyout and would have given the White Sox the 3rd out of the inning. But the point is moot because it was already a flyout. Now we go to the bottom of the 2nd. Carl Erskine back on the mound for the Dodgers. He's going to face Joe Jackson, Happy Felsch, and Shane O'Collins. All right, so we have a 0-61. That is a ground out to Gil Hodges. We check the D6 roll, which is a 3. That's an error check. We consult the error chart on any hit or out. All right, so that goes to Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges' error number is at the bottom of his card. 4 is the range, 1 is the error number, and 0 is the throwing arm. So he's an E1. And now we will roll our 2 D10s. Our error number is 1. It's an error on a roll of 1 to 8. It's not an error, but let's assume that it would have been, so you see what that looks like. It would have been an error on a ground ball. So we look here, and we would have rolled these 2 D10s one more time, and it would have been a 52. And that would have been an E3 1 base for all, so a 1 base error on Hodges. Had he gotten the initial roll between 1 to 8 for the error, but he didn't. He made the play, and so there's 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd. Now it's Happy Felsch. 673 is a strikeout on Erskine's card. He gets Felsch, but we have a 6 on the D6. That's the home field advantage number, so nothing's going to happen there. It has to be a ball in play for the home field advantage to kick in. So there's 2 outs in the 2nd now, and it's Shane O'Collins. Pitch to him is a 483. 483, of course, is on the batter's card, and this is going to be launched into right field. That is going to be a double to right, and the 2-up on the D6 means that we're going to refer to the range chart. All right, so for range in right field for the Dodgers, of course, that's Carl Furillo. On a player's card, the range number is the first number after their position. The error number is 2nd. The throwing arm is 3rd. So his range is a 3. This is Carl Furillo's card. He is a 3. So what do? Well, we look at the range check. Get to the kitchen. It's a range check. All right, so we have a double to right field. Now, it's probably going to be Furillo that's involved here in checking his range, but it could be Hodges, or it could be the second baseman, Jim Gilliam. So let's see what we have with the two D10s. 49, sure enough, it's Furillo, whose range is going to come into play. So it's a 3. So we have a range hit to an out. So we have a hit. We know it's a double to right. We could be changing this to an out if Furillo can make the play. Well, what do we need to roll? If it's 1 to 40, because Furillo's range is a 3, if it's 1 to 40, Furillo turns this hit into an out. However, if it's 41 to 100, then it stays a double to right. 22, and sure enough, Carl Furillo caught the ball, and his range paid off for the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's 3 outs in the second. So nobody scored in the second. We've played 2 complete, and it's 0-0. All right, so Faber is back out for inning number 3. Erskine, Gilliam, and Reese coming to bat for, I skipped Gilliam in the first inning. I don't know why I did that, but so I skipped Gilliam and I used Pee Wee Reese's card twice. My apologies. Just teaching the game here today, people. Just teaching the game. Erskine up against Faber. You can see that in Sabertooth, every player, even the pitchers, have their own hitting card. All right, because this is hitting card. All right, 861, so that's greater than 501, so we know that's going to be on Faber's card. And 861 is a fly out to right field. The 5 tells us to look at the ballpark chart. The ballpark chart for Comiskey Park is right here. The ballpark chart could change the outcomes. We're going to roll a pair of D10s. 94, nothing's going to happen there. So it's a fly out. And that's 1 out in the Brooklyn third. Now comes Jim Gilliam. Jim Gilliam is 0 for 1. There's his card. The pitch from Faber is a 0-15. And that's a walk because it falls within his walk range. So Gilliam takes first. Now we're going to do a stolen base attempt. So you see exactly how that works. Stealing bases in Sabertooth is a piece of cake. Every player has a jump number and a steal chance number. The jump number for Jim Gilliam is a 26. Then we look at Red Faber, the pitcher. His hold number is a -10. So this cuts the jump number back to a 16. From 26 minus 10 makes 16. And then if he gets the jump, then we subtract the catcher's throwing arm. So the catcher's throwing arm is Ray Schock, and in parentheses we see his arm as a -10. So we're going to send Gilliam, or try to send him. What's going to happen is his jump number goes from a 26 to a 16. Schock's -10 knocks him back to a 1 to 50 to be safe if he gets the jump. So let's see if he gets the jump. 1 to 16. He doesn't get the jump. That's a 100. That's 100. Yeah. So if he would have gotten the jump, so now he can go. He can still go if you want to send him. But to do that, you use the jump number and subtract 20 from his percentage. Okay, so he'd go from a 50 down to a 30. So let's send him. You wouldn't do this, but let's suppose that you would. He didn't get the jump, so it goes to the steal percentage. We're still subtracting Schock's -10, so he goes to 50. Then we're subtracting 20 more because he didn't get a good jump, so he goes down to 30. 1 to 30, he's safe, and he gets shot down at second base. That's how stealing bases works in Sabertooth. A piece of cake. But for the sake of argument, let's suppose he doesn't go, and Pee Wee Reese comes to the plate with 1 out and 1 on. The pitch from Faber is a 270. 270 on Pee Wee's card is a P6, but we have a 6 on the D6. And so it's home field advantage, but nothing is affected by that, so it stays a P6. And there's 2 outs. Now it's Snyder with Gilliam still at first base. So the Duke stands in. He walked in the first. The pitch from Faber is a 0.64. That's a walk. It's a 4 platoon chart. So we have to check our platoon chart to see if that is affected by see if a walk is affected by the platoon differential here. But we had this, here we go. So, platoon for Snyder is a 2. Platoon for Faber is a 1. So the batter has the advantage. His number is higher. We add them together and it's a 3. But we look here and see if there's any change to a walk when the batter has the advantage. And there isn't. So we don't have to worry about it. All right. So there's 2 on now with 2 outs for Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson is 0 for 1. The pitch to him is a 871. 871, so that's on Faber's card. It is a base hit to shortstop, so it's knocked down by Risberg. Oh, wait, it would help if I can count. There's 3 types of people in the world, people. Those that can count and those that cannot. An 871 is actually a fly out to right field with a 4 on the D6. We're going to check the platoon chart because the D6 tells us to. And the platoon chart here is going to give Faber the advantage. Now, it is the original result is a fly out to right field. But nothing, the pitcher would have, so we look at the platoon, it's a 0 for Robinson, it's a 1 for Faber, so Faber has the advantage. We look here for flyouts, and we see that it's a fly out to right field. Nothing changes when the pitcher has the result. So that is 3 outs. Right fielder Shane O'Collins makes the catch, and oh no, that'd be Leibold. Leibold makes the catch, doesn't matter, it's the right fielder, and that retires the side. All right, now we go to the bottom of the third. Here come the White Sox against Carl Erskine. Risberg, the 7th hitter, against Erskine. 833, so it's on Erskine's card. We know that right away. 833 is a fly ball to left field. It's going to be caught by Jackie Robinson. We have a 5 up. That's the ballpark chart. That's the ballpark chart. And there's how we know. So we look at Comiskey Park, and nothing's going to change there, so we're good on that. It's a fly out to right field. 7 up, 7 down for Erskine. Now it's Ray Schalk, the 8th hitter in the White Sox order. So there are charts, but dealing with the charts is pretty quick once you get the game down. 594 is a strikeout for Erskine. It's a 2 on the D6, which is a range chart, so nothing changes. And with 2 outs in the third, it's Red Faber. Red Faber comes up. As the 9th batter Erskine faces, he's dispatched all of the 1920 White Sox he has faced. The result here is a 461, so it's on Faber's card. A 461 is a pop-up to third base. We have a 6 on the home field advantage chart. So this could change to a single. Roll our D6s. If it's 82 to 100, it's going to be a single. It's not a single. It's a pop-out to Billy Cox, and that retires the White Sox in the third. We've done 3 innings of Sabertooth Baseball. Going to do another demo for you next Tuesday on my demo show on my channel. But we've gone through a number of things here. We've gone through a long drive. We've gone through a range check. We've done error checks. We've used the rare play chart. We've used the home field advantage chart. We've used the ballpark chart. And so you've gotten a flavor for how Sabertooth Baseball works. I hope that you've enjoyed this. We will be back next Tuesday with another demo. Every Tuesday is demo day. Remember, Thursday on my channel is Triple Play Baseball Day. And this Thursday, Triple Play Baseball will be Game 5 of the American League Championship Series in 1975 replay. And so it's the game of decision between the 75 A's and the 75 Boston Red Sox. Hope you'll join me. Please subscribe to my channel for more. Thank you so much. So long, everybody.